Check out what I've got on the bench today, you guys. These are the RS3 racing motors from Emax. I got a set of these and I'm super excited about them because they've got some premium features like a titanium shaft. They're efficient and lightweight, and I'm going to use them for this build back here, a lightweight, efficient cinematic cruiser or a filming platform based on the Chimera 5 frame. I'm going to tell you guys about this build and why I chose the RS3s for this frame, but first of all, I want to take a closer look at the RS3s and let you guys know what makes these a little bit different from some of the other options out there, including the Eco 2s. Now, should you go with the 2306s or the 2207s? I don't have the RS3 2207s, so I'll use these iFlight 2207s to stand in so you get an idea of the size difference. If you're confused by those numbers, it refers to the stator width and the stator height. So for example, the 2306 is a motor that is wider and flatter, whereas the 2207 is a motor that is taller and narrower. In my experience, a thinner, wider motor like the 2306 is going to be more efficient and has better cooling, while a taller, narrower motor like the 2207s is going to be more responsive and have more overall power and thrust. The 2207 also has more stator volume and is just plain bigger. And there's a trade-off that comes with that. Naturally, it's going to be a little bit heavier, it's going to have a little bit more thrust, but it's going to draw a little bit more power from your battery, and you're going to get slightly shorter flight times. So why did I go with the 2306s? Well, for my build, I'm more interested in endurance and getting nice long flight times on this medium range cruiser. I will trade a longer flight for a little bit of extra thrust and responsiveness and weight that I can probably do without because I'm not a racer. Now, if you're using these motors for racing, your calculation may be different. Let's put it this way. If you care most about power and responsiveness, get the 2207s. And if you care more about nice, long, smooth, and efficient flights, like I do, especially if you want to have the option of running lithium-ion batteries, get the 2306s. If you can't decide between these two sizes, don't stress about it. In real-world use, the difference is really not as dramatic as it seems when we're comparing specs. The RS3s come in 1800, 2100, and 2400 kV options. The 1800 kV is intended for 6S, the 2400 kV is intended for 4S, but the 2100 kV is the interesting motor in the lineup because it's kind of an in-between. Emax says that it's rated for 6S, so if you're after pure speed and you've got some super high C-rate batteries that you don't mind pushing to the limits, that's going to be the interesting option as an insanely fast racing motor. Remember when choosing your KV that you can always add a throttle limit or a motor output limit to bring down that KV, but you can't raise it without swapping out motors. So if in doubt, go higher KV is my advice. I chose the 2306 1800 kV motors because for the build that I'm planning, I'm most interested in range and flight time over raw power. Emax has been making racing motors for years, but I think they're best known for their Eco and Eco 2 line of motors. When you're new to the hobby, the first investment is a huge barrier to entry, and those Eco motors allow you to get into the air for a little bit less money. I use them on my Source 1 build, which I did a couple years back, as well as the Mose 7 build, which I just did on the channel. This is a DJI O3 build with all the bells and whistles, and I wasn't looking to save money. I chose the Eco 2s for my Mose 7 build because they're relatively lightweight, super efficient, and they perform great, and they allowed me to finish up this build within my budget. So what's the difference between the Eco 2306s and the RS3 2306s? The RS3s are going to cost you a few bucks more per motor than the Eco 2s, and as a more premium racing motor, the RS3 is going to be lighter weight and have an edge in performance over the Eco series. The Eco 2 2306s weigh 31 grams with the wires, while the RS3s weigh 30 grams with the wires. The RS3s use higher quality materials. For example, they're using a titanium shaft instead of a steel shaft, and the motor bell on the RS3s is designed to allow for better cooling, while the Eco 2s are designed more for durability. Even though the RS3s are going to provide top-level performance, at $20 each, they're still much cheaper than many other premium motor options. For example, I've got these T-Motor F60 Pro 2207.5s on my GEP-RC Mark V build, and these motors came in at $27 each, or about 28 bucks more for the whole set. That makes the RS3s a premium option at a mid-range price point. All right, you guys, here's the endurance medium range cruiser build that I've got planned based on the RS3 motors. This is the Chimera 5 frame. It's based on the Chimera 7, but made for 5-inch arms. I've got a Chimera 7 back here, and as you can see, it's so huge it doesn't even fit into the frame. Now, for pure long range enthusiasts, 7 inches is where it's at, but 7 inches isn't so practical for a lot of people because you need massive batteries, which are very expensive and very heavy. Let's say you want to go climb a mountain. Well, something like this is going to take smaller batteries and be a lot more practical, but with the right efficient setup, including these RS3 motors, you can still get some super long flight times and get most of the benefit of a 7-inch quad like this out of something that's much smaller and much more practical to throw in your hiking bag and go climb a mountain, for example. One of my favorite FPV drones to fly are the 5-inch ultralights like this Diatone L5, and I've also got the GEP-RC Croc 5. I've got a video on these on my channel that I made a while back. You can check it out if you'd like. The reason why I love these 5-inch ultralights is they're super lightweight and efficient, and what that means is they don't make a lot of noise. You can go into stealth mode and people don't even notice you're flying a lot of times. And the batteries are relatively lightweight, so if you need to go for a hike or something, it's not a burden to bring these with you. The problem with ultralight drones is they usually use these 2004 motors, which are not very well suited for carrying any amount of weight. Also, ultralight props are super fragile, and these things get blown around in the wind, which can ruin your footage if you fly at certain places like high in the mountains or on the beach. If we compare these two motors, you can see that the 2306s, even though they're lighter and more efficient than the 2207s, are going to be much larger and much more capable than the ultralight 2004 motors, which means that for this Chimera 5 build that has the benefits of a 5-inch ultralight while being a little bit more capable of carrying heavy batteries, a GoPro, and not getting blown around in the wind so much. So the RS3 2306 1800 kV motors are going to be a perfect fit for this medium range endurance build because they're still lightweight and efficient, yet they're so much more capable than an ultralight motor, and they'll allow me to lift some heavy lithium ion packs like this one, put a full GoPro or at least a GoPro Bones up here, and still give me some nice long flight times without drawing too many amps from this lithium ion pack. What do you guys think about this build? Are racing motors the perfect fit for a medium range cruiser like the Chimera 5? Let me know what you think of the RS3 racing motors, taking into account the features they offer and the mid-range price point. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.